death battle with a level playing field, two challengers from the world of A Song of Ice and Fire go head-to-head in a battle of brawn, brain, and leadership. In a special episode, today's champions were selected by the Westeros Brawls contest winners. Representing each of the two winners today is the wildling YGRITTE versus the King in Highgarden, RENLY BARATHEON. Let's meet our combatants. While little is known about her, we first meet YGRITTE beyond the wall as part of Rattleshirt's scouting party, who are soon jumped and captured by Jon Snow and Qhorin Halfhand. Her two companions are slain, and while Jon is told to behead her as well, he ignores his orders and just lets her go. She uses this opportunity to inform the rest of her wildling scouting party about the Black Brothers' whereabouts, but unbeknownst to her, Jon kills Qhorin in order to infiltrate the wildlings. The two begin an affair, even going on ranging parties together under the pretense that Jon is now a full-fledged wildling. However, Jon makes his escape to warn his brothers of the wildlings' plans to attack the wall, and the next time both we and Jon see her is when she lies mortally wounded at the bottom of Castle Black. What YGRITTE lacks in Westerosi highborn education, she makes up for in a sort of devious cunning, using riddles or storytelling to get under someone's skin. She's also had to adapt to the harsh life of those living beyond the wall, letting her bring to the table a lifetime of physical tenacity and a wide set of survival skills. Where YGRITTE struggles is in her low status of being a wildling. Considered to be the dregs of society and ordered to be kept out of Westeros by the men of the Night's Watch. But it's gonna take more than a few rules to keep out this fiery wildling. Renly was born the third and final son of the late Steffan and Kysana Baratheon, who perished in a shipwreck just a year into Renly's life. After his oldest brother Robert won the crown through his rebellion, he gifted Renly with lordship over the Stormlands and their ancestral home of Storm's End. Later on, when Renly grew to adulthood, he also appointed him to his small council as the Master of Laws. With Robert leaving no true-born heirs to the throne after his death, Renly named himself king over his older brother Stannis, using his existing popularity both at court and in the Stormlands, as well as the support of the Reach through a marriage with his lover's sister Margaery. But when his older brother Stannis demanded that he bend the knee to him as the rightful king, Renly refused, saying that the bannermen of the Stormlands and the Reach had chosen their king when they chose to back him. Stannis, outnumbered and with no other option, dispatched the shadow magic of Melisandre to assassinate Renly the morning before their two armies would come to a head, leaving Renly as the first of the five kings to exit the war. Renly was born with just about all the traits you'd want in a figurehead. While many kings throughout the series' history, including his older brother Robert, would take the approach of brute forcing their way to a crown, Renly used charming smiles and friendly words to broker any alliances that he needed. He falters, however, when it comes to actually proving his mettle, lacking experience in war or battle, preferring instead to make friends with people who can do that for him. But will the Shining Stag be able to charm his way past the lethal arrows of the girl kissed by fire, or will it turn out to be open season on this deer? This is the King in Highgarden versus...
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
First up is physical prowess. In a one-on-one fight, who would win with no outside help? Unlike his two older brothers, Renly has never been to war. He did participate in a few tournaments now and again, but never excelling like Loras or the Clegane brothers. Beyond that, we don't know much about what Renly is capable of physically, but one would assume that being a highborn, he would have some sort of basic combat training when he was younger. And, going off his description in the books of looking like a young Robert Baratheon, only much shorter and way less muscular, I'm gonna take a somewhat calculated shot in the dark and give him a 4 in strength, a 5 in dexterity, and a 4 in constitution. While Renly grew up in castles rubbing elbows with the well-bred and living a pretty cushy lifestyle, YGRITTE was born and raised in the coldest and most hostile environments in Westeros. Wildlings don't catch many breaks in life, stealing or hunting whatever they eat, and only keeping what they can defend. There's no lord to run to for justice. It's a dog-eat-dog world, and the weak just won't make it here. But proving to be an incredible shot with a bow, and an experienced survivalist, YGRITTE has no problem facing the elements or any man of the Night's Watch. She earns a 4 in strength and a 7 for her experienced bowmanship. But while living out beyond the wall for even a short amount of time will make you toughen up quickly, I gotta subtract a few points when it comes to constitution. Those furs might be warm and snuggly, but they're pretty unprotective. So, YGRITTE bests Renly 16 to 13. Now, I think we all saw this coming, but let's look at it anyway. At a ranged distance from each other, YGRITTE is just going to snipe Renly with her bow. Even if Renly did manage to survive long enough to get close to her, YGRITTE with a massive speed advantage would just be able to slip around him until she could drive a knife into his throat. Renly's a lover, not a fighter, so point goes to you, Ginger Minch. Second is mental prowess. Who would be the best at outwitting and outplaying the other? Now, I don't think anyone would call Renly a genius, but I'd like to make the argument that he's way smarter than a lot of people give him credit for. Case in point, he had the good sense to get the hell out of King's Landing before the Lannisters could make their move after Robert's death. I guarantee he would have met the same fate as Ned if he had stuck around. He also chose his friends wisely and served on his brother's council for several years. Where Renly dropped the ball was naming himself king just because he wanted it, and because he thought he would be the best at it, not necessarily because he had the know-how. So I'm giving him a 6 in intelligence, a 4.5 in intuition, and a 6 in will. As for YGRITTE, well, I have to give her points for the coy head game she's able to play, a survivor's instincts to be able to live beyond the wall at all, and her unwillingness to back down. When it came to that whole Jon Snow betraying the Watch and becoming a wildling thing, she showed a pretty egregious lack of critical thinking. Yeah, you know this guy broke one lifelong vow already, so why would you believe him when he says that you're gonna be together forever? Whoops, there he goes. Anyways, 16.5 to 13 in favor of Renly. Last up, of course, is political prowess. Renly might have been the first of the 5 kings to exit the war, but let's look at how he entered it. He was able to rally people behind him, not for a quest for justice or liberation, not out of fear, and not even because he was the rightful king. People were willing to follow and die for Renly because he was just so damn charming. He knew how to dress, he knew how to act, and with that he was able to win the love of the people. And being the spitting image of his older brother during his legendary youth didn't hurt either. Renly earns a perfect 10 in charisma, a 9 in wealth for having all the resources of the Stormlands and the Reach behind him, and a 7 for his status as the king in Highgarden. YGRITTE, well, this is clearly going to be her weakest category, isn't it? I mean, seducing a guy who was raised by Ned Stark's high standards of fealty and honor wouldn't be easy, and I know she was desired by at least a few other men, so I'll give her a 5 in charisma. But other than that, she has no real assets to her name. While she might be a spear wife, being a wildling is just about as low as you can get on the Westeros totem pole. So, Renly wins with a score of 26 to YGRITTE's 7, by far the biggest blowout we've ever had in a single category. YGRITTE being a wildling means she has no real power or wealth or status. There just isn't even much of a chance of her competing against Renly in this category. Which means that despite faltering in the physical prowess category, the Copper Stag wins this time around. Thanks so much for watching, and make sure you like, favorite, and subscribe if you want to see more. Leave a comment below on which 2 combatants you'd like to see go head-to-head next time on Westeros Brawls.